From all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays!
HTLA Radio 1 proudly presents Sex and the Kitty.
Welcome, my favorite on the road to self-awareness, authenticity, and awesomeness, listener meeps to Sex and the Kitty with your host, this intellectual Kate Taylor on HTLA Radio 1 New York. As with all our programming, this show is available 24/7, 365 on our website, www.htla973.com. So, if you can't join the broadcast in progress, download me and listen to me at your leisure. However you choose to listen, join me to unwind after your work week as I show you how to reclaim your most sensual selves and create the most fulfilling life you can have anytime, anywhere. Remember, Meeps, that tonight's show is sponsored by eHarmony, Sandals Resorts, and Trojan Twister. That little something you never want to forget. Makes a great gift, too. Okay, I've got to note that my opinions and those discussed here in tonight's show are my own and do not reflect the opinion of HTLA Radio 1, our advertisers, or our sponsors. As always, I love your comments and questions, and this show really wouldn't be as awesome without them. So thank you, and please keep them coming so I can continue to make this show about the issues and bits you want to hear about. If you'd like to get your questions or comments addressed on the air, please send email to me at ktaylor@htla973.com. Sorry, that was just too funny. Post to our show at the station's website at www.htla973.com or tweet me at thekitty973. See, you always have to take care of your pre-show business, Meeps. That's just what you got to do. All right, last week, review. Last week, we talked about goals. Most of us have the talent, education, experience, and awareness to obtain our goals, but very few of us have all those components at once. And that's what leads to success and an authentic, fully enhanced experience of living, not just existing. We talked about the something else that is more important than all of these things, and that is self-esteem. Even the greatest among us struggle with self-esteem in one or more areas of life, or even just a low sense of esteem in general about ourselves with everything. Our level of self-esteem colors every single decision, view, perception, and ideology we hold in life. If you have a poor sense of esteem, then you're going to have a poorer view of everything. So I asked everyone to go to www.getesteem.com, an amazing resource for repairing damaged esteem and growing strong in whatever you do today, to create that tomorrow that this show hopes to see you have for yourselves. If any of you actually have done so, please get in touch with me and let me know how it went. I'm always looking for valuable resources for you, and it really is important that I know how my choices are working out for you. So you've got to keep those tweets and emails and posts coming. I really do appreciate it. Change is as necessary as breath. If we don't change, we die. The death may not be of a literal sense, but of the more important sense. Our soul dies, our heart dies, and our passion for life and living dies. We're going to continue our journey to change this week by addressing the process of change in challenging situations, and how the way to do that is to consciously practice changing your negative thoughts into positive ones. And we're going to do it one step at a time, together. When we begin the process of change, when we first realize there's an issue we need to address to remedy, to help us improve our life and how we feel about our place in it, it's all we can do to focus on where the faulty process is occurring, that we lose track of the rest of our daily life, the rituals and routines that help us to create a foundation of esteem, by maintaining our activities and feeling that daily sense of accomplishment. It's totally not unnatural to feel as though all we need to do is just avoid the situations and feelings that start the negative process going in the first place. But moving ourselves to a desert island isn't the answer. I promise you. Obviously, a little while of doing the avoiding thing is only going to thrust us back into a negative pattern. We internally know that this isn't the answer, that we're just replacing one escapist technique for another. And doing this will again lead to a sense of failure and feeling lousy about ourselves. We likely will even stop the process of change altogether because we get discouraged. The answer instead is to look at each of your mornings like an exciting and beautiful challenge, not a fearful, tedious, heart-wrenching chore. Get your sexiest, fiercest self on and arouse yourself to the challenges of the day, whether that's simply going to work and approaching your daily tasks in a completely different way, or meeting and overcoming an actual outside challenge, such as fighting a ticket in court, or meeting a deadline, or cooking a nice meal for company that evening. Whatever it is, from the simple and few to the complex and many, command your inner Viking and conquer your day with as much excitement and passion as possible. Get up on time. Resolve to stick to whatever routines and schedules your daily life requires, no matter what. Just doing that alone is success to build on. But do that in the same spirit as the unafraid, unawkward, unworried, and empowered person you'll be once your process of change is complete. And every day you'll get closer to doing and being that for real. Simply be aware of your tendency to retreat into the process you've set for yourself that causes you to spiral into a paralysis by analysis mode. When you feel yourself start to drop from the gusto-filled beginning you've started the day with, ask yourself why you're feeling that way. More importantly, ask yourself if how you're feeling is based in fact or just what you perceive to be the facts. Okay, we're going to actually take our first commercial break here, and when we come back on to the fun parts of the show with Kate Recommends and our questions and our top 10 sex tidbits of the week. So 2 minutes, I'll be right back.
I think what it is that you don't know it until you have it. Because I heard that in the past. You always hear these people being like, oh, well, she's not right for you. You'll know. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, you'll know. Well, this is what they were talking about.
When I first heard him on the phone, I thought he was really sexy.
I love this girl to death, and Anne-Marie changed my life because I was going in 100 different directions.
It is easy to be with Lee. It's easy to love him.
She is extremely happy, lighthearted, doesn't let things get to her, and I learned from that, and I'm jealous of that, but she's bringing that into my life.
I'm much more laid back and kind of go with the flow.
Me, not so much.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie allows me to be who I am. I mean, as long as I have her, that's it.
See how it feels to be matched based on compatibility. Log on and review your matches for free. eHarmony.com.
Cold, clean, iron-free. This was the water he had been searching for. Down in the hollow, where he would build his business. Never varying from his recipe. Staying true to the process. Growing to meet a demand that would stretch far beyond the hills of Tennessee. Quite a feat for the little man from the middle of nowhere, who knew he had something so special. He was proud to give it his name.
When whippoorwills call and evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. Just a turn to the right, you find a little white light will lead you to my blue.
Book now, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
From all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays!
Yes, and a very, very happy holidays. We will be going on with the show next week, but we're all very excited about the holidays here. It's going to be pretty awesome with the little ones, and we hope that you have wonderful holidays planned as well. All right, so every week I'm going to suggest something you can do with your partner that may be new or maybe old and forgotten. This is part of my Kate Recommends section that I do every week. While sometimes these will be actually physically arousing things, remember that your brain is the biggest and most powerful sex organ you've got. As I always say, arousal begins in the mind. Then once rooted, may inflame the heart and allow you to lose inhibition and fall into the object of your desire's arms. Only lastly does true passion take place below the waist. Head, heart, and then the hoo-ha. Right. Okay, last week I had you and your partner have a conversation about something you may want to do or try that before now you may have been too afraid to bring up. I hope that you've done so, and I hope that you'll be ready to give those things a try over the holiday. This week's a writing assignment. Now, what I really want you to do is get a piece of paper, each of you and your partner, and if you don't currently have a partner, you get a piece of paper and you do the exercise for yourself. Okay? On that paper, you're going to list the things that you like, love, admire, and enjoy about each other. Again, if you're unpartnered, then I want you to write the things you like, love, admire, and enjoy about yourself. Because just as important as any relationship that you have is your relationship to yourself. Now, the length of the list doesn't matter. Only the authenticity and genuine affection of the items. Once you're done, put the list in each other's stocking for Christmas morning. Or, if you don't happen to observe that tradition, then choose a time and place to exchange lists. If you're unpartnered, and maybe you don't observe the stocking thing, so you can't put it in your own stocking, well, that's okay. Because this list you can read whenever you like, because it's meant to show you that, as with everyone, there are wonderful qualities that we have. And when you really get down to it, they almost always, unequivocally, outweigh the bad things. And we never see ourselves the way other people see us. So when you do this exercise with a partner, you're going to be pleasantly surprised, unless you happen to talk about these things all the time. Oh, tell me why you love me. You know, that kind of thing. You'll be actually pretty pleasantly surprised. The things that they come up with that you didn't think maybe was an admirable quality or something that they found endearing about you or something. So it can be a really endearing and surprising exercise. All right, don't forget, write me too and let me know how it's going. Okay, now we always get reader mail, and I love, love, love answering my readers' questions. I have some really, really wonderful stuff that comes in, and I wish I could get to everybody's, but I can't. I try and choose one that's really most pertinent to what occurred on the last show and what's going to be relevant to this current week's show. So please don't forget, keep them coming at the Kitty973 or the website or ktaylor at htla973.com. Okay. So this week's letter says, Dear Kitty, I've been listening to your show and I think it's great. I went to the website you suggested, but do have a little issue with some stuff. I've been recognizing my thought patterns and doing my best to stop the negative and think something positive instead, but I feel stupid doing the exercises and some of the things that they want me to do. So what should I do? Signed, Trying. Well, dear Trying, this is a great question. And firstly, please do not let that discourage you, because it is completely and totally natural to feel that way in the beginning. In fact, I want you to be encouraged by feeling that way when trying to do the exercises, because that is a success in recognizing what makes you uncomfortable, and it points you towards what you still need to address when you're ready. First, only do the things and the exercises that make you least uncomfortable. All right, even if it's only one of the exercises. I can assure you that once you get comfortable with one, yet another will be even easier. Please remember that just as there are stages to grief, there are stages specific to behavioral change. And they are as follows. The first stage is you'll feel phony. You'll feel like you're pulling out a set of skills or behaviors that are just not you. And God, if I haven't heard that more than enough, oh my goodness, that's like classic. 2, you'll feel uncomfortable. The skills and the behaviors are still awkward, still not easy to do, but it begins to feel less like you're pretending at this stage. Next, you'll begin to feel more comfortable. The skills or behaviors are becoming more habitual now, and you're feeling less awkward. You still have to think about it, but it's much easier. Then the new behaviors begin to feel natural. The behaviors have become a habit, and you're starting to see the benefits of having stuck to it. They're becoming a part of who you're becoming. There's a little concentration and effort required, but it's not like it was even remotely. You just do it. Remember, the bigger the change, the longer the initial steps will last. Please do not be discouraged. There's no timer, no judge, no prize or consequence other than the improvement of everything in your life. Like I tell my family, I would never ask you to do something that wasn't going to be good for you. I wouldn't tell you to do something that could only ever... I wouldn't tell you to do something... I would tell you to do something. I would only tell you to do something that could only ever improve your life, never detract from it. Too many of those contractions. I'll tell you, it's Friday night. But thank you for the great question, and keep up the great work. And please remember, as I said, send your questions to ktaylor@htla973.com or tweet me your questions at thekitty973. Now, the favoritist top 10. We're going to take one more quick commercial break, and then we're going to get into my favorite part, the top 10 sex tidbits of the week. Stay with us 2 minutes.
People hang on his every word, even the prepositions. He could disarm you with his looks or his hands. Either way. He can speak French in Russian. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
That
Time that I ever
is so
saw you was
ridiculous.
Sometimes you need a divorce lawyer and a personal injury lawyer, or even a bankruptcy lawyer. No matter what your legal situation, turn to lawyers.com first for the help you'll need to guide you through it.
Oh, no.
Lawyers.com. Your legal solution starts here.
Hey, are you kidding me?
Our lead story, GoDaddy.com, the domain name, hosting an SSL certificate giant, is at it again.
With us now, the GoDaddy girl and star of the commercial that's causing the fuss, Danica Patrick. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Danica, has GoDaddy gone too far this time?
Well, some say the commercial is too hot for TV.
How hot is too hot?
I can show you exactly how hot is too hot for TV.
See more now at GoDaddy.com.
When whippoorwills call and evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. Just a turn to the right, you find a little white light. Will lead you to my blue.
Book now, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
From all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays!
Okay, Meeps, you're back, and you're listening to Sex and the Kitty on HTLA Radio 1 New York. Stay tuned tomorrow. We do our weekly webisode, and that should be really fun and interesting this weekend. If you can't tell, it's been kind of a frazzly week. We've had some awesome shows go off. We've premiered Film 101 on Thursday, and it went beautifully, and it's a really wonderful show. And hopefully you'll be able to check it out on the website, because if you're interested in film, the production of it actually, then you don't want to miss this show. And you can go to its temporary home, which is www.thefilm101.webs.com. And that's a really great website, and you'll need to go there, and that'll keep you abreast of what's coming and some amazing resources that's going to be posted there too. All right, on to my top 10 sex tidbits of the week. Now, since this really technically is a sex show, I always finish off my weekly session with you on a lighter note by throwing in my top 10 sex tidbits of the week. Last week, I gave you an extended 14 foolproof ways to get in the mood. Tonight, we're going to put last week's advice to good use and count down the top 10 reasons to have sex tonight. Okay, when you're in the mood, it's a sure bet that the last thing on your mind is boosting your immune system or maintaining a healthy weight. Yet, good sex offers those health benefits and more. That's a surprise to many people. Of course, sex is everywhere in the media, but the idea that we are vital sexual creatures is still looked at in some cases with disgust, or in other cases a bit of embarrassment. So to really take a look at how our sexuality adds to our life and enhances our life and our health, both physical and psychological, is eye-opening for many people. Sex does a body good in a number of ways. The benefits aren't just anecdotal or hearsay. Each of these 10 health benefits of sex is backed up by scientific scrutiny. So, among the benefits of healthy loving in a relationship are, number 10, and this is definitely not one to be overlooked, sex relieves stress. A big health benefit of sex is lower blood pressure and overall stress reduction, according to researchers from Scotland who reported their findings in the journal Biological Psychology. They studied 24 women and 22 men who kept records of their sexual activity. Then the researchers subjected them to stressful situations, such as speaking in public and doing verbal arithmetic. Oh my God, that would really make me nervous. And noted their blood pressure response to stress. Those who have intercourse had better responses to stress than those who engaged in other sexual behaviors or abstained altogether. And another study published in the same journal found that frequent intercourse was associated with lower diastolic blood pressure in cohabiting participants. Yet, other research found a link between partner hugs and lower blood pressure in women. Okay, I guess hugs don't do much for men, so it's just women. Number 9, sex boosts immunity. And in this crazy, oh my God, we're so paranoid, everything we do is going to give us some kind of virus world, this is a good thing. Good sexual health may mean better physical health. Having sex once or twice a week, what? Once or twice a week? Oh my God. Has been linked with higher levels of an antibody called immunoglobulin A, or IgA, which can protect you from getting colds and other infections. Scientists at Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, took samples of saliva which contain IgA from 112 college students who reported the frequency of sex that they had. Well, I'm sure that was a bit of an exaggeration on the boys' parts, but okay. Those in the frequent group, once or twice a week. Wait a minute. Frequent is once or twice a week, even for college students? Wow. I guess we should be lucky. It's more like once or twice a day. What did they categorize that as, I wonder? Excessively frequent? Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to inquire about that. So those that had sex once or twice a week had higher levels of IgA than those in the other 3 groups. Those groups who reported being abstinent, having sex less than once a week, or having it very often, 3 or more times a week. Okay, well, I guess very often then. Okay. The high end of the very often spectrum. Number 8, sex burns calories. But, don't get crazy because I was really, really disappointed to find out how much. 30 minutes of sex burns 85 calories or more. Well, you get 80 calories in just like a tablespoon of salad dressing. So, and they even admit it might not sound like much, but it does add up. Oh, wait a second. Well, 42 half-hour sessions. Now, even that's a little excessive for me. Well, unless they're talking weekly. 42 half-hour sessions will burn 3,570 calories. More than enough to lose a pound. Okay. So, I have to have 21 hours of sex to lose a pound. So, if I have sex all day, every day, because that verbal arithmetic thing. Well, I'll let you figure it out. Yeah. Doubling up, though, you can drop that pound in, like I just said, 21-hour-long sessions. Okay. Sex is a great mode of exercise, though. Honestly, it is. It takes work from both a physical and a psychological perspective to do it well. So, it's kind of an all-encompassing workout there. So, definitely recommend it, though. But always check and make sure you're healthy enough to have sex, like the Viagra commercials say. You just don't want to run out, hear my show, and have sex and then drop dead from a heart attack or anything. So, which leads me to number 7. Sex improves cardiovascular health. While some older folks may worry that the efforts expended during sex could cause a stroke, that's not so. I know I felt like it at times afterwards. In a study published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, Scientists found frequency of sex was not associated with stroke in the 914 men they followed for 20 years. Well, that's actually impressive. But what about women? Because women have more strokes than men, actually. But, okay. And the heart health benefits of sex don't end there. The researchers also found that having sex twice or more a week reduced the risk of fatal heart attack by half for the men, compared with those who had sex less than once a month. Okay. So I would suggest running out if you're healthy enough to have sex and getting into that very frequent category, because then you'll be less likely to have a heart attack. Sounds good to me. Number 6, sex boosts self-esteem. This absolutely, I guess, is my all-time favorite one, tied in with the whole premise of Sex and the Kitty in the first place. Boosting self-esteem was one of 237 reasons people have sex. Oh, man, would I love to get my hands on the list of the other 236 reasons. There's like one reason for me. 237 reasons. Okay. The University of Texas did an immense study and collected all this and researched and published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior that although she finds that those who already have self-esteem, at least what they consider a good self-esteem, say that they sometimes have sex just to feel even better. One of the reasons people say they have sex is to feel good about themselves. And since great sex begins with self-esteem, it'll also raise it. So if the sex is loving, connected, and what you want, it'll raise your sense of self-esteem. So definitely, if you're feeling good and you're confident in your sexuality, then the more you do that, that's just another thing you can build on to increase your overall sense of self-esteem. So I say do it. Okay. Number 5, sex improves intimacy. Having sex and orgasms increases levels of the hormone oxytocin. This is the so-called love hormone, but also what they injected me with to induce labor, so whatever, which helps us bond and build trust. Researchers from the University of Pittsburgh and the University of North Carolina evaluated 59 premenopausal women before and after warm contact day, with their husbands and partners ending with hugs. Here goes those hugs things again. They found that the more contact, the higher the oxytocin levels. Oxytocin allows us to feel the urge to nurture and bond. It's actually very critical especially for women, in promoting that sense of trust and ability to have a great intimate relationship with another person, because trust is critical before we women will allow ourselves to become intimate with someone, generally. Higher oxytocin has also been linked with a feeling of generosity. So if you're feeling suddenly more generous toward your partner than usual, we can go ahead and credit that love hormone. Oh, another one of my all-time favorites here. Number 4, sex reduces pain. As the hormone oxytocin surges, endorphins increase and pain declines. So if you have a headache, arthritis pain, PMS symptoms, and they seem to improve after sex, you can thank those higher oxytocin levels. In a study published in the Bulletin of Experimental Biology and Medicine, 48 volunteers who inhaled oxytocin vapor. Okay, I want to get my hands on some of that. We got to find some of that. And then had their fingers pricked, lowered their pain threshold by more than half. All right, now I really want to get my hands on some of that. Yeah. And I've always been a major proponent of, stopping pain before it starts. If you have a chronic condition, I actually have herniated discs, so I'm totally familiar with chronic pain. But I'm always of the mind that you have to stop the pain before it starts. So if you can stay in a state every day of that kind of even self-elevated, arousal and passion and engagement and, enthusiasm for your day, that's going to automatically, right from the get-go, reduce your pain and reduce the chances of any activity you do elevating and kicking that pain off. So, I'm all for that. Number 3, sex reduces prostate cancer risk. Now, this is really an important thing because it's only specific to a portion of life. Frequent ejaculations in 20-something men has been shown to reduce the risk of prostate cancer later in life. Now, they've done this study with men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and they only found that it was really effective in reducing the risk of prostate cancer if they had frequent ejaculations in their 20s. I find that incredibly curious, too, because obviously that's the time when you're supposed to be, uncontrollably having sex with anything that walks by, et cetera, et cetera. So if you've actually allowed yourself to do that, then you're less likely to get prostate cancer later in life. And while they were, like I said, risk to the incidence of cancer later in life lower in 21 and over, 20-something men, doing it doesn't matter how much older you do it. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, it's not going to have any effect. It's only that particular period of time in your 20s. So there you go. Hopefully, if you're 30s, 40s, or 50s, you had a very active 20s. That's all I can say. But, a third, that's a pretty significant number. All right, number 2. For women, sex strengthens the pelvic floor muscles. Do a few pelvic floor muscle exercise, and everybody knows the Kegels. It offers a couple of benefits. You're going to enjoy more pleasure, and you'll also strengthen the area and help to minimize the risk of incontinence later in life. I don't know about you. I do my Kegels. I've had 2 children, both under 4 hours. I'm pretty good down there, and I still have to pee like 25 times a night. I don't know. So anyway, the basic Kegels, how you do them if you don't know women, is all you do is you pretty much tighten the muscles of the pelvic floor as if you're trying to stop the flow of your urine. You count to 3, you hold it, you count to 3, and then you release, and then you repeat. And the more you do these exercises, the more it strengthens those muscles in there, and you'll get all-around benefits. Definitely you will. I've been doing them forever, so maybe that's why. And because we're actually running a little bit over, the number 1 reason to have sex tonight is, and I definitely need this too, sex helps you sleep better. The oxytocin released during orgasm also promotes sleep, according to research. And getting enough sleep has been linked with a host of other good things, obviously, such as maintaining a healthy weight and blood pressure. Something to think about, especially if you've been wondering, why your guy can be going to town 1 minute and snoring the next. Well, now you know. All right, there you have it, Meeps. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Sex and the Kitty. Remember that everything is new until we learn it. There is always a more improved way of doing what you're doing. Thank you to my husband and ever-professional producer, CJT. A big thank you to our sponsors and supporters. I'd like to shout out to all of our ever-growing listeners and affiliates. Thank you so much. Next week, the curse of perfectionism and overreaching. If you've missed any part of tonight's broadcast, just visit www.htla973.com and check out the broadcast page. And don't forget to see me and Crash every weekend as we post our webisodes for you too. It'll be tomorrow night. Create a free profile. Write me. Stay in the sexy know. Be fierce, kitties. Good night.
From all of us at HTLA Radio 1 New York, happy holidays!